I'm going to backtrack. Long ago I flashed up birth certificates of a baby named Albert in 1946. I also flashed up his death certificate actually it was less than 3 months later, surely. He was born on the 2nd of June and died on the 13th of August, yes. I have flashed up a photograph of my parents in Piccadilly on what my father claimed was the 11th of July on the back of his photograph, and my mother merely said July 1946. My mother also claimed through the years that she had married in July 1946. I've said that they look smart but miserable in the photograph, and speculated about perhaps they'd gone to the funeral of this baby, their baby, which would put the photograph considerably later than the 11th of July. It would have had to be after the 13th of August. But who can tell from a black and white photograph in summer? I mean, just not possible to, whether it's July or August. Now I hear that my father talked about taking my mother on honeymoon to Blackpool. So again I'm back with, perhaps my mother and father had been to the registry office that day in London. And maybe my father got cold feet at the last minute and said, can't do this, I'm already married, don't want to go to jail for bigamy. That would explain both the smart clothes and the miserable expressions. Not quite sure why my parents would keep the photographs. If it had been a funeral, well, yes, it marks the funeral of the baby in some way or another. But to mark a sort of non-marriage, which was followed up by a honeymoon, although by that time my mother could have said, F off, you bastard. What the hell did I ever see in you, you piece of excrement? Again and again. My daughter is not of the right generation to understand what my brother and I do. That my mother just was not. God, this sounds sexist. But I am talking about a specific era, a specific religion, Christianity, and a specific upbringing in Christianity. My mother was not the type to run off with a man she wasn't married to, especially if he was married to someone else. And in order to get out of marrying her, I think he would have had to confess to that. So what's this bloody honeymoon in Blackpool? Especially if I am correct, and the baby that had initially been the tie was dead. Of course, I can't claim to know the effects on a woman's brain of that, on the effects of it on her psyche. Even if I assume, and I think it's a perfectly reasonable assumption, that she was drugged at the time of conception, based on photographs I have, letters I have, etc., etc. Well, that wouldn't have been an excuse then, and it, in fact, in many countries, including America, is not now. Women are blamed for their own rapes. Well, you shouldn't have been alone with him. Well, and you were drinking? And you didn't see him slip something into your drink? And what were you doing alone with him anyway? especially in that era. So, if that's what had happened, and my mother felt tired because of the baby, and then the baby died. Well, actually, with the evidence that I have, and I have said it on another video, and I don't think I uploaded it because of what else I said on that video. They did both go to Coventry. Sent to Coventry. In early September of 1946. On the 4th of September 1946, my father joined the British Legion in Coventry, and he gave his address as 2 Sandy Lane, Coventry. My mother's library card says 17 Binley Road, Coventry, which leads me to wonder if they were actually living together. Have I uploaded the video in which I think and state that I think that my father stalked my mother for a very, very long time, and eventually ensnared her? This is repetition of another video in which I go on to ponder why, in that case, my mother would voluntarily go with my father to Australia. Well, she didn't go with him, in fact. She followed him approximately 6 months later with my 2-year-old brother. I'd said 18 months on some other video. He was 2. The letter from Largs Bay, the ship, was dated August 1949, therefore my brother was 2. When she had to climb down a ship's ladder with him because the ship caught fire, and they were lucky enough to be near the port of Aden. I can't solve the mystery, and that bugs the hell out of me. Neither can my brother, it has to be said. And whatever age he was when he learnt to read, there are numerous reasons for late readers. My brother is an intelligent man. Neither of us can work out why the hell my mother, of all people, would run off with a man she wasn't married to. But whatever happened before that, she did follow him to Australia with Michael. Australia appears to have been a happy time, judging by photographs, for my mother. She's smiling, she's swimming, she's in a swimsuit, she's smoking. As far as I can tell, she was still driving. I think she still wore makeup. I can't find any photographs of my mother post-Australia in which she's smiling at the camera. At least not when my father is behind it. But then again, I can't find any photographs of me or my brother smiling at the camera when my father is behind it. Something happened, and the something would appear to be that my brother was taken by my father back to England without my mother, which of course would entail my mother having to hook back up with my father in order to get back her son. But it still leaves Australia unexplained, doesn't it? Although I do have a theory, which I have eliminated from this video.